Escrow tip number 18. The topic of this one is regarding reviewing the contract before signing. From time to time, we will get a standard fill-in-the-blanks contract used in a real estate and business transaction. And we look at what was completed or checked and we say, what? Jane, the original sole buyer in our transaction, could not qualify for the loan. Her loan broker asked her to find a co-borrower to help her qualify. So 3 days before the actual closing date, we received a California Association of Realtors contract addendum form called the Assignment of Agreement Addendum, also known as Form AOAA. Jane added a Michael to the transaction, and the seller signed and agreed. Like all California Association of Realtors forms, they are developed and designed by the CAR attorneys. It is a fill-in-the-blanks and or checkmark form for ease of use by the real estate agents. On this form particularly are the following sentences pre-printed on there. Quote, the following terms and conditions are hereby incorporated and made a part of the purchase agreement dated such and such, end quote. It also provides for a box to be checked, stating that it is a, quote, partial assignment adding a buyer. The buyer is adding the assignee name below to the agreement and granting to such assignee a partial interest in the agreement, end quote. So when we got the form, we asked Jane and Michael, how are you going to take title on the ownership deed? Would they go on as joint tenants? Was it going to be tenants in common? Oh no, they said. Michael was just helping Jane qualify for the loan and he was not going to go on title. The loan broker and the buyer's real estate agent also insisted that the form was submitted to the lender just to add Michael as a co-borrower to qualify for the loan, and there was no intention to show him as an actual buyer. Michael would only sign the loan documents and be responsible for the loan, but he would not sign any escrow paperwork, and his name would not appear on the deed. Supposedly, they said, the lender was aware of this. So why did they use this AOAA form if Michael was only a co-borrower and not a co-buyer? And how does this work from our escrow standpoint? So the sentence on the form again is buyer is adding the assignee, Michael, named below to the agreement and granting to such assignee a partial interest in the agreement. So according to the form, which was signed by everybody, Michael now has a partial interest in the contract and he is an additional buyer. To follow the contract, we need to include him in the transaction going forward, and that includes adding him to the deed. After lots of back and forth and angry words between us and the loan broker and the real estate agent, we flat out advised them that by sending us this completed and signed AOAA form, Michael is now one of our buyers and he will own the property together with Jane. And if this was not the intent, well, somebody did not read the form to advise Jane and Michael correctly. So bottom line is, either we add Michael as the buyer or they rescind the AOAA form, which of course might put the new loan in jeopardy. So after consideration, the buyers agreed to leave Michael as one of the buyers, and then we would show him on the deed with the ownership at closing. Viewers, you, I am sure, know where I'm going with this. If you are going to use a standard fill-in-the-blanks form that the Realtors organization has available, you and your clients need to read it and make sure you know what you are signing. Is it the correct form to use? Did you check the correct boxes or fill in the correct information? Does it correctly reflect the intent of the parties? Will there be any unintended consequences? For instance, does Jane understand that Michael will forever have ownership in the property unless he agrees to sign a quitclaim deed in the future? All contracts, and especially fill-in-the-blank ones, should be reviewed carefully before signing. In fact, getting legal counsel on some of the more complicated ones would be a great idea. before the form is used and signed. This is Juliana Too, and thanks for watching.